Well, from today, please take care of the 7 of us.
Upon opening the front door, there stood my son, whom I hadn't seen for several months. Behind him, his wife and children were standing with large luggage. I hadn't heard anything about this, and I told him it was rude to suddenly show up at one's parents' house with so many people, but my son was unfazed. He entered, brushing off my words with an indifferent yay, a sight that was nothing short of terrifying. Why did my son come back? Months ago, after I criticized him and his wife for their reckless spending, it was he who called me a greedy old hag and cut off ties with me. My son, much stronger than me, easily pushed open the door and came in.
There's obviously not enough room for 7 people here, you know.
My son stretched out his arms straight and firmly grabbed my shoulders. He said with a pleasant smile, causing me pain,
Once you're done with cleaning and laundry, Mom, you can sleep in the hallway.
My name is Barbara, a 75-year-old woman living on a pension, just an ordinary American woman. Before I got married, I was all about my career at the company. Initially, I loved my job, and since there were many women around, there was an understanding for women working overtime. Back then, the societal norm was once a woman gets married, she should stay at home. However, my company said, "You've been doing great work, so if possible, we'd like you to stay. What do you say?" It was fulfilling work, but my husband wanted me to be a stay-at-home wife, so I became one after we got married. I also got really into cooking, putting extra effort into my usual dishes, making them taste professional. I had always admired the idea of spending time and adding that extra touch to cooking. I secretly found joy in having more time for my hobby of sewing by being a stay-at-home wife. We only had one child, Jason, but I cherish the time we spent together as a family of 3. When Jason was young and in elementary school, I loved how clingy he was. As he hit middle school, Jason went through a rebellious phase and sometimes put emotional distance between us, but he was blessed with good friends. He even has friends from middle school he keeps in touch with to this day. In high school, influenced by his friends or maybe thinking about college, Jason focused more on his studies. My husband, despite his old-fashioned views, was supportive in raising our child, making the tough parenting journey enjoyable. I was lucky to have mom friends around during high school and college entrance exams, discussing things like, what approach are you taking with your child? What advice should we give? And how can we support their study focus? I ended up paying for most of the wedding because Jason hadn't saved much. My husband worked hard and provided well for us, ensuring a smooth and comfortable life. My hard-working husband passed away 5 years ago after a battle with illness. Now, I'm living alone, getting by on my pension and the savings my husband left behind. I use my sewing skills to create pieces and sell the finished products on thrift market website, earning a bit of income. With a comfortable financial situation and no struggles in daily life, I've been leading a fulfilling life, volunteering with friends besides my hobby. Outside of volunteering, I enjoy delightful days out, like going to lunch with my friends. My son Jason, now 44 years old. Married 17 years ago and has his own family. His wife, Lisa, is 40. I remember her from their school days as a quiet girl. But that image has long been replaced as I got to know her better. They have 3 children, with the eldest grandchild now 14, followed by a 10-year-old and an 8-year-old. My relationship with my son and daughter-in-law is good, especially when the grandchildren were younger, as they weren't very demanding. I made sure not to do to her what I disliked being done to me as a mother-in-law, avoiding unexpected visits and giving money on special occasions so they could buy what they liked. I thought we were maintaining a healthy distance, but recently things have changed. My daughter-in-law now often asks for gifts for the grandchildren or to eat out at expensive restaurants every week. When we go out to eat, she and my son never even pretend to reach for their wallets, always choosing pricey places. But dining out is still better in a way. I enjoy seeing my grandchildren happily eating and saying how delicious everything is. Given the evolving situation, Lisa has started clamoring for accessories that clearly aren't in line with what a middle schooler would typically wear. I've known Lisa since my son was in high school. She was a quiet girl, unremarkable in both good and bad ways. I can't believe I didn't see how brazen she could be, and I just sigh. She wasn't rude to begin with, but became domineering the moment she felt she could say anything to me. Over time, relatives noticed her true nature and gradually distanced themselves. Now, only those with strong character remain in contact with her. Lisa, thinking I'm easy to manipulate, started asking for rings, necklaces, designer wallets, and bags. I've confronted her, asking, "Why do you need such expensive things? Aren't these just for you?" She insisted it was all for the kids. It starts with clothes for the elementary school's enrollment ceremony.
I need this outfit for when I attend parents' days. Only a designer bag will match this dress.
But I couldn't afford to buy designer bags just for that reason. Ignoring her moderately, she eventually stopped pestering me for more. However, she then started aiming for things that were hard to refuse. She would barge in while I was cooking dinner.
Please make some side dishes for me too.
When I refused,
Well then, anything you have will do,
she would say, and then help herself to the fridge, taking leftovers or the newly bought pack of meat. Even when I strongly objected, she just laughed it off.
Thank you,
she said, shrugging off my arm and leaving on her own accord. Lately, I am astonished that my daughter-in-law would go to such lengths. It's common to hear about daughters-in-law being troubled by mother-in-law issues, but is it normal for me, the mother-in-law, to be the one distressed? It's audacious how she would suddenly visit and then ask for meals for her entire family. And yet, she never shows up for the Memorial Day or visits my late husband's grave. On the Thanksgiving Day, she would ask for money for the grandchildren, devour the Thanksgiving's feast, and then leave without greeting other relatives. One summer, after being ignored despite many warnings, she said,
"It's a trend now to give money on the Thanksgiving Day and during Christmas season. Give them to all the kids, please."
Without even showing respectfulness to the grave or any gift to me, she still demanded money for her 3 grandchildren, pushing me to my limit. When I finally confronted her about her appalling behavior, Jason blatantly looked at me, sighed, and even clicked his tongue.
We're gracing you with our presence and giving you time with the grandchildren. And this is how you talk. Fine then. We won't contact this crazy old woman ever again.
Who's being crazy? Fine, I won't contact you either. Don't ever come back. Lisa left quickly with the children, not even looking back. Since then, the once frequent calls ceased, and the unexpected visits stopped. Afterward, I became busier with my sewing hobby and volunteering, continuing my days without involving my son. Blessed with supportive friends, I enjoyed lunches out and lived busy, fulfilling days. Not contacting my son brought me peaceful and calm times. With sewing, volunteering, and lunches with friends, those days of leading a stimulating life were indeed happy. During my volunteer work, a handicapped person said, "Barbara, thank you as always. It made me feel appreciated, and I was very happy." Being naturally sociable and blessed with many friends, my phone constantly rang with their calls. Whenever I received an email, the cheerful ping sound would play to make a notification, and I'd think, another invitation email, always finding the content pleasant and smiling to myself. 3 years into the estrangement, my home phone, which I hadn't set to block calls, rang for the first time in ages. It was my son. I quickly figured out how to block incoming calls on my cell phone, but I couldn't figure out how to do it on the home phone, so I left it as it was. I've been peacefully minding my own business, without any contact, actually. So what on earth is going on? On the phone, I heard, "Hello, Mom," from Jason's voice, and faintly heard Lisa asking, "Did you get through to Barbara?" It seemed they were both calling together. Jason didn't say he was well or that it had been a long time.
I need money.
He said, laughing without any shame. Appalled, I was about to hang up when I heard Jason sigh.
Actually, I got fired from my job.
What? Reacting might have been a mistake, because Jason, thinking I was listening, rapidly continued.
Actually, I had a bit of a health issue and made some mistakes. Made a pretty big blunder and was told to take responsibility. So, I got fired. No farewell party or anything.
It's been tough, huh? Keep it up, I said, but honestly, I could only think, so what? I could guess the next words from my son, who lost his job and was asking for money. Attempting to end the call quickly, Jason's desperate voice stopped me. He seemed not to expect any loan.
If money's out of the question, let's live together again.
What?
You, as my real mother, can live happily with your cute grandkids, and we save on rent. It's a win-win, right? I'll call again. So please clean the house for us.
Don't joke with me. Living with you guys won't make me happy. You cut off our parent-child relationship, and now you're shamelessly coming back because you're in trouble. You should rely on Lisa, not me. I couldn't stay silent at such selfishness, and raised my voice for the first time in a while. Then, I heard Lisa's voice from afar.
I'm working part-time now, but it's still not enough to support 3 kids. so we need your help. Don't you have any affection for your son and grandkids?
Not at all. Living with you would just mean being treated like a maid, eating for my money. I refuse to live together or give any financial support. Don't contact me again. I slammed the phone down, but it started ringing incessantly. The endless ringing annoyed me, so I picked up the receiver between calls. This would prevent other calls, but those who really need me would call my cell. However, the calls from my son and his wife didn't stop. Leaving the receiver off or putting it back, they seemed to find the exact moment to call. Tired of ignoring them, I reached out to a close friend. On a whim, I called a close entrepreneur friend on my cell. "Hello, I want to know how to block calls on the home phone." 3 months had passed since I regained peace. I was almost done with household chores and was making a drawstring bag when suddenly the doorbell rang. It was unusual for the doorbell to ring without an appointment, so I checked the monitor and saw the faces of my son and his wife. A bad feeling crossed my mind. Having them inside would only cause more trouble. I tried to send them away, saying, "I'm busy right now, can you please leave?"
Don't be like that. We've come all this way. We have something important to discuss. Just hear us out,
he said, showing something behind him. It wasn't just their family. Lisa's parents were also there. 7 people, including my son and his wife, their 3 children, and Lisa's parents, had come unannounced, all carrying large suitcases. I couldn't help but feel reluctant to just turn away my son and daughter-in-law, especially with their parents in tow. If I were to send away guests carrying large luggage right from the doorstep, it would surely cause a scene and attract unwanted attention from the neighbors. Although I really didn't want to let them into my house, I begrudgingly led them to the guest room. After ushering Jason and Lisa along with their parents into the room, I let the 3 grandchildren play upstairs. Their joyful exclamations of "This room is so big" echoed through the house. Right off the bat, my son said to me, without any discussion,
"Mom, let's live together. We've even brought our luggage, see?"
"I can't live with you. Take your luggage and go back, please," I blurted out. A simple rejection like this wouldn't easily deter my son. Then he spoke condescendingly.
"Mom, we're trying to be filial by living together. We want to give you, who doesn't have much time left, the joy of caring for your grandchildren. Isn't that filial of me?"
I sighed in exasperation and said, "Look, as you know, I'm 75 years old. It's impossible for me to take care of the grandchildren at this age." I was disillusioned that the form refusal I had expressed over the phone seemed to have been ignored. The thought of being indebted to a son who only thinks of himself was frankly more trouble than it was worth.
Hey, Barbara, Jason is right. Living together will make things easier for you. Seeing your grandchildren every day would make you happy, right?
The thought of how much money I would be drained of, and the amount of effort I would have to put in if I ended up living with my son's family, gave me chills.
Barbara, are you considering your age? Since you don't have much time left, you can enjoy spoiling your cute grandchildren.
I had hardly spoken or even seen Lisa's parents since their marriage greeting. They are staunch Lisa supporters, probably having spoiled their only daughter immensely. And Lisa herself was likely raised in their excessively indulgent love. Then, as if to add insult to injury, Lisa's parents chimed in with their piece.
Hey, Barbara, let's cooperate with our daughters, considering we both don't have much time left,
Said Lisa's mother, true to their nature. Their brashness must have significantly shaped her character. Though I'm unaware of their lifestyle, they seemed to regard Lisa's word as absolute.
Being the filial son, providing the old mom with the joy of caring for a lively family, that's me, right?
Jason, probably feeling emboldened by the crowd, laughed heartily. I couldn't help but wonder if Jason and Lisa were trying to put me in their debt by bringing up everything they've done for me in the past. It infuriated me how they had squandered my money as if forgetting I had covered the grandchildren's expenses, citing the daughter wants it or the son needs it. Lisa's parents seemed to agree with everything she said.
Hey, Barbara, our Lisa is a smart girl. Let's follow her lead,
Lisa's mother said with a smile that was too present, making me feel uneasy. That's why I kept my distance from Lisa's parents. Their brazenness in approaching me so boldly, despite not having met since the wedding, was beyond rudeness. It was sheer impudence. I found Lisa's parents to be incredibly audacious.
Mom, we're here for you, and we'll live together. You'll be happy, right? We'll start living in this house from today,
Jason said with a smirk. He continued to dismiss me, saying,
We'll take your room so you can sleep in the hallway from tonight on.
with Lisa snickering in agreement.
Barbara, please.
I couldn't stand being manipulated by my son's family and Lisa's parents any longer. I pushed past them and retreated to my room on the second floor. Soon after, I came down with my carry-on, to the astonishment of my son and his wife and Lisa's parents. I'm leaving, so make yourselves at home.
What?
My son gasped.
What about the housework?
And we thought we were finally free from it.
Lisa fretted. Their words confirmed my suspicion that they intended to treat me like a maid. I was speechless at the audacity of Jason, jobless and unable to support his family, and Lisa, whose part-time work wasn't enough. Their entitlement, along with Lisa's parents tagging along, was too much to handle. The house is too much for me to manage alone. It's already been sold. You can live here if you want, but you'll need to buy it back, I informed them. My son and his wife seemed unable to grasp what I was saying. I've been planning to move out, and I started preparing 3 months ago.
This living room isn't empty, is it?
Well, the stuff here was supposed to be disposed of last. Most of the things in this house were unnecessary for the new place. Naturally, we threw away what we didn't need and took what was necessary to the new home. If you all want to live here, you'd have to buy back the house. Well, it's been well maintained and close to the station, so I don't think it'll be cheap. The living room had only a desk and simple decor, so it seemed their son didn't notice at all. The decor in this living room was supposed to be taken out by the movers after I had finished unpacking everything. That's why the living room alone had items for entertaining guests.
Mom, I'm your son, aren't I? And the kids, They're your adorable grandkids, right?
The son and his wife pleaded with me even more. I couldn't help but snort with laughter. My dear sons were gone 3 years ago. Why are you telling me this now? You should just go back to your old home.
We've already terminated our apartment lease. Without jobs, we can't pay the rent. Living on Lisa's income is tough. We have no choice but to rely on you, Mom.
Even with such pleas, I'm not obligated to support my son's family or Lisa's parents. What are you talking about? You just need to find a job, and if Lisa continues her part-time work, you should be able to manage. Don't make excuses for being unemployed. Just get a job. The main provider should be you, Jason. I pushed my son away. My parenting days are over. I have no obligation to support Jason now.
We're asking because we can find jobs right away.
My son retorted angrily. Then you should ask Lisa's parents. They are good supporters for Lisa, and it would be easier for you to live there, Jason.
Even our parents sold their house and moved here. This is the only place we have to return to.
This house isn't mine anymore. If you want it, you'll have to talk to a real estate agent to buy it. Seeing their situation, I realized they truly had nowhere else to go. It seems the son and his wife have no home to return to. But this place is no longer a home for Jason either. All I can say is, I'm flabbergasted. I'm appalled they really thought they could live with me without my consent. It's one thing for my son and his wife, but it's quite another for Lisa's parents to come and live in our house too. That's pushing it too far.
You're a parent too. Shouldn't you naturally take care of your son, daughter-in-law, and grandkids?
Lisa's mother had the nerve to say that, but their audacity is astounding. Just because I'm a parent doesn't mean I have to take care of Lisa's parents too. And if you're a parent, why not look after your daughter and her family? Plus, Jason and I cut ties 3 years ago. I've considered my son as good as gone since then, so it's too late to ask for my help now. The house is sold, and the next place is just a 1-bedroom apartment. There's no room for you folks. I said this with a mix of sarcasm and disdain. No matter how charitable I feel, I'm not broad-hearted enough to support a son and daughter-in-law with whom I've severed ties. Without a home of my own, there's nothing I can do. And for me, living on a pension, there's nothing left I can do for Jason and his family. I've got enough on my plate just dealing with my own retirement. Indeed, this house holds many memories with my husband. Memories of a time when things were better economically, and how hard my husband worked to buy this house. There are also precious memories of living with Jason. Memories that now bring tears of nostalgia. Disowning the son we raised together. Am I being irresponsible as a parent? But Jason is over 40 now, married with 3 kids of his own. If there is still a parental responsibility, then surely I must have gone wrong somewhere in raising him. Amidst all this, Jason and his family are blaming each other. It seems nobody ever thought I would sell this house. Indeed, selling this house, now that I'm over 70 and the mortgage is paid off, would be risky. Honestly, I wouldn't have done it if things hadn't gone sour with Jason and his family. It seems like Lisa and her parents have completely forgotten about me, all furious at Jason, their son-in-law.
Jason, you are to blame for lying. All the responsibility is on you.
Lisa's parents were furious.
You said Barbara would never sell the house of memories, Jason. Didn't you check? Now all plans are ruined.
Lisa was also very angry. In fact, I've been close friends with the landlord of the apartment where my son and his wife lived for a long time. Ever since Jason said he wanted to live together 3 months ago, I've been concerned. So, I decided to contact her, who is also a landlord and a friend. From her, I heard that my son had been discussing giving up the apartment for 4 months. I was stunned by my children's actions, but I was glad to know about their plans in advance. Moreover, my friend, the landlord, told me that Jason had said he wanted to live with me, to leave some of the kids' care to me, hoping to show filial piety while I was still healthy. Knowing this, I started planning various ways to avoid living with my children. With my energy at 75, there's no way I could take care of endlessly energetic grandkids. And it was clear that if my son and his wife came, they would impose household chores on me. Moreover, I feared that living together would not only burden me with caregiving, but also drain all my finances. I spent about a week pondering what kind of environment would be comfortable for me. I wondered if I, at 75, could live happily considering my physical capabilities. Living alone in this house is not possible. It's too big to manage on my own. Even now, it's a struggle to maintain it. After much thought, I decided to sell this place and move into a senior living community. Senior housing isn't as spacious as a single-family home, so I moved out only what was necessary. I had to dispose of the things that wouldn't fit in the new apartment, but with my wide circle of friends, it was easy. I sold items and furniture that wouldn't fit in the new apartment, along with excessive clothes and antiques. Many books left by my late husband were also taken by a used bookstall. Items I hadn't used in years, and those that could be used at a charity sale at my volunteer place, were all donated. I went to the local government office, got the paperwork for moving, and found out what was necessary. Most of the moving procedures and preparations were completed 4 days ago. After settling the remaining utilities like electricity, gas, and water, I was in the home filled with memories. As I was enjoying my last moments in the house with my favorite sewing, Jason showed up just as I was about to leave. While playing upstairs, my grandkids must have overheard our conversation and peeked their faces out. Prompted by a look from his parents, my 14-year-old grandchild said,
"Abandoning your own son and us, Grandma, you're heartless. A poor, lonely grandma should live with us, and you should leave all your wealth to my dad and mom."
Hearing this, the 10-year-old and 7-year-old grandchildren echoed, "Right, right," reflecting the upbringing of Jason and Lisa. Their statements, heavily influenced by Jason and Lisa, made me wonder where I went wrong with my son's upbringing. However, Jason and Lisa have made their choices. And while I foresee hardships for my grandkids, it's out of my hands and not my concern anymore. I conveyed this to my grandchildren in an admonishing way. You should ask your mom's parents instead. There's no need for it to be me.
Lisa's parents don't have savings and are barely getting by on their pensions, so that's not feasible. Besides, having us around would make life more enjoyable for you, Mom.
I was so exasperated. All I could do was sigh. Jason is an adult. Find a job while Lisa is working part-time. If Lisa is working, you can at least rent an apartment in her name. The landlord of Jason's previous apartment has left it vacant for now, not wanting to live with me. If a mortgage is feasible with Lisa's part-time income and unemployed Jason, then go ahead and buy the house back. I left the house and had already contacted a real estate agent. I'm getting on in years and just want to live a life that fits my means. Later on, it seemed my son and his family tried to buy back the house I sold. Jason apparently went to the real estate agency, aiming to repurchase the house full of memories for him. He mentioned his former home address and said, "I want to buy this property. It's a big purchase, so he needs a mortgage qualification process." It seems the application didn't pass, naturally, just on Lisa's part-time income. With an unemployed son, they couldn't even discuss a mortgage. The well-located and well-maintained house was far too expensive for Jason's budget, and they couldn't afford to buy it with a loan. Indeed, for an unemployed son and a part-time working daughter-in-law, the house was probably too expensive. Jason's family, including Lisa's parents, ended up living in the apartment they had before, squeezing in 7 people. The landlord was surprised that in addition to Jason's family and children, Lisa's parents were living there too.
It's good as a rental income, but please, no trouble. Neighborhood disputes are the last thing I want.
My friend who is a landlord mentioned. Even though they are living there thanks to the landlord's kindness, the apartment is cramped for 7 people, especially with small children, which seems to be causing a lot of stress. Living in a cramped room with Lisa's parents is just making things more stressful and frustrating for them, I've heard. An acquaintance living near Jason's apartment told me Jason and Lisa are looking increasingly worn out. Jason has found a full-time job, but with no qualifications. It's not paying much, I've heard. Thanks to the money from selling the house, my husband's savings, and my monthly pension, I can afford a decent senior apartment. I'm enjoying my days with hobbies like sewing, volunteering, and dining with friends. My environment hasn't changed much, and I feel happy living peacefully. Since moving to the senior apartment, I've joined a dance club and am having more fun than before. Being part of the dance club has increased my circle of friends, and I'm enjoying every day. I've even made a close male friend, which has added excitement to my life, making each day feel fresh. I'm not considering marriage now, but I'm happy to be helpful to someone. I'm feeling fortunate to spend quality time with good people. I hope to continue living healthily and happily like this.